Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast. We have just
Woo!
finished watching the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals. Unfortunately, it is a team that all of us want to see win. That's right, Phil Kessel is a Stanley Cup champion once again.
Wow.
This game proved that one team deserved to make it to the finals, one team didn't. How do you feel about this?
Oh my God, so much emotion, just like the guys who just won the Stanley Cup. 6 years of existence, the Vegas Golden Knights are your 2023 Stanley Cup champions.
Such a long time. You know, and I gotta say this to Vegas fans. I can tell how passionate they are because they didn't boo Bettman. That means they just knew that Bettman just loved their hockey city so much.
That gives it more reasons to tell it's rigged.
No, honest to goodness, the fact that they didn't boo proved to me that they don't know nothing about the sport and that they're going to forget about this championship in about a month's time. So,
Bro, they're not even true hockey fans. They don't
dude,
know the booing.
Honest to goodness, this is only good for when us Canadians come down to Vegas because what? Oh, I want to see a Vegas game. You know what I mean? Like, other than that, no one cares. I don't know. I'm salty. That's all I know. But I was asking you this before we started this. Is it better that this happens? Or would it have been better if, you saw Kachuk raise the Stanley Cup there right after that whole trade in last season?
Oh, dude, I would have hated life if I saw Kachuk lift the cup with Florida a year after we got rid of him. That's why I was so happy I chose Vegas in this sense, because, like, as much as I hate the idea of a team that's been an expansion team for 6 years in this league lifting the cup before, let's think, 4 teams that have been here much longer that don't even have a cup yet. You look at every Canadian team, they haven't won a cup in 30 years. But I'm still happy Matthew Tkachuk didn't lift it.
31 years by my math.
Oh, sorry, 31.
Well, I know
T-Dog's math.
My math. Yeah, why do we do that?
I was going to say, this episode is sponsored by Well. A man can dream that no one wanted this.
No. Oh, okay, I gotta say though, Bruce Cassidy lifting that cup. I'm watching it right now. That's deserved.
Much deserved. Much deserved.
Hey, Flames fans, we're mad enough because of this whole thing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really involve us. We kind of just want it to be involved with us because nothing goes for us our way. But this entire series is such a smack in the face to the Boston Bruins. Think about it. Florida destroys you in 7, absolutely upsets your phenomenal season. Then Bruce Cassidy, who you fired last season, goes on, wins the Stanley Cup. So that, I mean, who else is sad about this? Ottawa, probably because of the whole Mark Stone situation. Buffalo with Eichel. I mean, at the end of the day, Buffalo's going to be a playoff team. I don't think it really matters too much. Like, who else? LA fans, maybe with Quick. I think they're more happy for him than anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really too whatever.
I mean, you could technically say Florida fans are even more sad because Jonathan Marchessault won Conn Smythe and he lifted a cup.
True, as well as Riley Smith, right, winning that cup as well. Yeah. So there's a whole lot. At the end of the day, okay, when this game was on and that one goal happened where the whistle went, which every finals, there's always something that happens like that, eh? Like the whistle goes and...
Did anyone get 2017 vibes from that when Nashville, everyone was saying it was a good goal, but everyone's like, no, they blew the whistle. What changed now?
Yeah, I don't know anymore. So let me tell you this, and I said this to you again before we started this pod. I watched this, saw how Florida came out strong first, 5-10 minutes. As soon as they didn't score any goals, and Vegas scored after letting up an odd-man rush there, or Florida did, I'm like, yeah, the game's going to be won by Vegas. It just kind of happens with hockey, all that momentum, but I mean, the back-checking was not there for Florida. Florida did not have any gas today. They tried their best, and you have to respect that. No slander to Bobrovsky at all, though. You really can't. Bobrovsky is the only reason why the series wasn't 8-3 for every game, even though the games are pretty, high-scoring. And I saw some crazy stat, too, that every game that Vegas has played this playoffs, where they score 3+ goals in a game, they were 15-0. Now they won tonight, 16-0. So every single game that they won to win this thing, They scored 3+ goals. So
That's impressive.
it goes into the whole series. They were just better at everything
Literally.
in the series. They had the better goaltending, better scoring. The defense played a much tighter game. I would say keeping it out of the middle there. They were more disciplined, way more disciplined, as we can prove because what we saw, like Calgary's Bennett and Calgary's Kachuk, and that didn't really fare well. So that was a whole thing. But yeah, this game was just such a slap in the face. I feel bad for Florida, man. It was an embarrassment. Like I don't think it's as embarrassing as like Vancouver losing Game 7 on a shutout at home than rioting. But this is unfortunate. Plus, like you said in the tech talk too, the Heat just lost to Jokic and the Nuggets. So
I mean, I gotta admit, damn, that kind of hurts for Florida fans right now because you
yeah.
suffered a Game 5 loss yesterday, and then you just witnessed the Panthers lose again in Game 5. So
this is crazy.
That's pretty funny.
Another thing I was going to mention, going through this game, I like looking at the Reddits. You know, the Flames Reddit's not up right now; they're going on strike. But the Panthers Reddit's up, and the funniest thing to me was all the comments were just like Sharks fan, Habs fan, just the entire league's rallying against Vegas. Like Vegas is like the arch nemesis, the Joker. You know.
Oh my
I thought
god.
that was kind of funny, right? So
Well,
I think the only people happy here are definitely Vegas fans and fans of the players themselves.
dude, did you see there
Yeah.
was one meme page that basically posted right after all 31 fan bases, did we just lose?
Pretty much.
Literally every single one just is holding a huge L because Vegas won. But
And this is something to say, right? So this is the team that's won. Okay, how do I put this into words here? The stat is so it took them 6 years to win a cup from their birth. The shortest time span of a team to do that would have been the Oilers, in '84, if I'm correct, their first cup. However, though, they were a WHA team that switched, you know, that when that league got folded, got engulfed into the NHL.
oh
So
yeah.
in reality, to a team that the last team to kind of do that or shortest time span, when they became a new franchise would have been from the Jeff Merrick show. They said 7 years after, and that would have been the Philly Flyers.
Oh, so this is the most this is the quickest.
But I think it's the quickest really of all time in the sense of like a team being inaugurated into the league that wasn't already a team and then morphed in, you know, because the WHA was a whole thing. So
Yeah.
we should. I was just thinking about that. We should do some history talk. That'd be a good thing to do as well.
That would
But
be
yeah,
really
so Vegas, you know, you got to give props to that, and you know, like I said, man, I mean, now that I have to go to a Vegas game now whenever I go to Vegas, like that's. You know, but at the same time, you know, I'm salty. I'm really salty. This season sucked.
I mean, okay, from our point of view, we got basically absolute torched by the idea of playoffs with our team because we're Flames fans. We were like just hopes up and down throughout the whole season, so that makes sense why. And then one of our division rivals just won a cup, so I can see why this is starting to bug us. I 100% can see. But what I did want to mention actually about this series is I did want to talk about it a little bit, just like a little bit of the games, because the Panthers got outshowed very hard in this series, dude. It was bad to watch because obviously you looked how they went through the East, as we always say. They went through Boston, they went through Toronto, they went through Carolina. They made it all the way to here, and they got spanked. Realistically, all the games except Game 3. Game 3, it was close because Matthew Tkachuk actually was not in the penalty box for a point of the finals and actually scored a goal. And then they made the OT winner, right? And this drives me nuts because you and I always have this conversation. What is the better conference, the East or the West? Well, if you look at it through who won the Stanley Cup the most times, Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, the Western Conference has now won it 22 times. The East has won it 19. They brought the conference idea into the NHL in 1974. So now this is 49 years of that. So it adds up perfectly. The West is better in playoffs than the East.
Well, I mean, it
Boom.
shows parity, but let's look at the last decade, okay? Let's go from 13 to 23. Can you count for me, like on one hand East,
Got
one
it.
hand West kind of thing?
Yep.
2013, you had the Blackhawks winning. Then 2014, you have the Kings winning, Western Conference team. 2015, Blackhawks again. 2016, the Penguins in the East. 17, Penguins again in the East. You have 18, Washington in the East, so you tied up 3-3. 19, the Blues in the West. 20 would have been Lightning in the East. 21, Lightning in the East. 22 would be 5. So yeah, 5-5 because Colorado won last season, and then now 6-5 because Vegas just won.
Exactly.
In the picture.
I mean,
So
it is pretty neck and neck, though. I do got to say that.
So there's parity, but there's something to be said that should we be saying this about Western teams? Like, I almost wonder if Vegas was in the East, in the sense of notoriety, is Vegas feared more in the East? Because I almost wonder, if Vegas had a great season, like there's no way around it. They were injured last season. That is the only reason why they did not make the playoffs last year. Now they had a full healthy team and just some hungry players wanting to win. They can all score and they can do their job. And they do it when it needs to be, right? So it all kind of works out. But I almost wonder, do you think they'd have a better? I think they'd just be more feared if they played the East more, honest to goodness.
Well, the point that I brought that up was basically because of the idea of the East in the regular season is obviously a beast, because you looked at it this year, there was still Boston running the town. Tampa was still Tampa. Toronto looked actually competitive, the most it has in years. And Florida and Carolina still was a big tank in the East. Same with New Jersey. You look at all these East teams and you see Florida pop up in the finals. Vegas was known as one of the best teams in the West. And I think this series would have been a lot more compelling, at least if Boston or Carolina made it. But dude, it wasn't fun because it didn't feel like a close matchup. So the reason why I brought that in, that is brutal how some of these top teams in the East could not make their way to a final. That's what drives me nuts.
I almost think you have to put in the perspective that a lot of winning the cup is, of course, the hard work, but a little bit of luck into it too. Because what if Boston doesn't choke it? Like I'm not trying to.
It would be
the Panthers, because we were hopping on the Panthers bandwagon before this. Like, let's be honest, we were. But it's like, if Boston does make this finals, let's say, I think this is a 6-game series for sure.
Yeah.
Florida really got exposed in what they don't have and what they lack on their team. And unfortunately, dude, if they had Mackenzie Weegar, their defense would have been a lot stronger. I'm just saying. The forward grouping, I mean, that's because of injuries though. Luosterainen was injured, and of course Tkachuk for this game. That really sucks.
Oh, you knew the series was over when you heard Tkachuk was not in Game 5 with an upper body injury.
And that must be bad injury, because you don't miss games, right? You will play with a broken neck.
You don't miss the finals in Game 5 when you're down 3-1 unless you physically can't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tkachuk must have had flashbacks to that Dallas bubble series, hey?
Yeah.
That's what someone was saying. I was like, probably. But yeah, and the reality of it too, they got exposed for it. Luck ran out, and I think we can also maybe contribute it to, as well as Florida won their series against Carolina, and the amount of time that they had for rest was maybe too much, and maybe they just let that fire just dwindle away.
Yeah,
it caught them. It seems like they just lost momentum. That first game, I remember watching game 1. You could tell there's two levels. There's Vegas's level and there's Florida's level. Vegas was just a step further in every aspect of their game.
Actually, if you really want to talk about levels with both of these teams here, you can even look at the goaltending for sure, because we looked at Bobrovsky all through these playoffs and he was an absolute beast. We were saying that 10 mil might be worth it if he pulls off a cup run out of his ass here, right? Now you look at this series, he did not do great. That was like what he did in the regular season kind of stats. But Adin Hill, on the other hand, Oh, he took all of his fire and just, it was dangerous. That is a dangerous goaltender to see in a finals.
That is
Oh my
one
God.
thing I am very intrigued to see with Vegas for the next season. What's their goalie tandem going to look like? Because right now it's Hill, Brossois, Leonard Solon, Quick, and Thompson. My opinion, I looked at Cap Friendly. They still have Thompson signed, and I'm thinking it's going to be Hill Thompson.
Yeah, you keep those two
Try and,
100%.
try and buy out Leonard and let go of the rest for say.
I feel bad for Leonard though. He doesn't deserve that. He actually did like fight a decent amount for those playoffs that they were involved in though. Like especially that sucks, man. He got damn. That's kind of sad to hear.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I gotta say too, like, what do you think? Do you think Vegas is back here soon? Because I much as I hate to say it, I think Vegas is back here soon. I don't think it might not be next season. Too early to tell, of course. It's just happened, but I think they could be back. I think like them in Colorado are two teams that are going to be back soon to the finals.
Honestly, yeah, if you look at Vegas right now, I think that does depend on how obviously the goalie tandem does because Logan Thompson still looked promising throughout the regular season.
100% he did,
but,
yeah.
But Aiden Hill just took it all the way for them in the playoffs. So if that tandem can work throughout a regular season and a playoff again, 100% they'll be back here. But again, I think you were saying this before we even went recording here that they only have to sign depth players this offseason. Realistically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, yeah, I could 100% see this team running it back. Finals run back? Maybe. I can maybe see them get into the second round, but again, we've obviously seen Stanley Cup hangover. But yeah, I would say it would be like a Colorado situation of this year. That maybe injuries kick in again and they get like first or second rounded.
I was wondering about that too. Stone, right? In his injuries, like what happens with him next season? Because we're gonna, of course, see who got all injured and stuff. There might be a few players where we're like, you were injured? Oh,
you were playing?
Yeah. Like, how did it let you? Are you legally allowed to do that? Like, oh, that's bro. Whoa, that's Michael Stone, bro. You look, whoa.
Oh, he's stuck with his brother?
Michael Stone. What?
Oh,
oh, that's weird.
That's so sick.
That's cool. Okay, so I'm watching on the phone here, just still like watching Sportsnet. Michael Stone is there. Mark Stone's brother, and well, I guess he's not a Flame technically because he hasn't signed his 1 year $750K that he's guaranteed.
Yeah. Yep, we're still waiting on it.
That's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
That's sick. Good for him.
Poor dude is probably like, I want to get on the Vegas trend.
Well, because do you remember when Michael Stone did an interview with the Flames, I think, and some of the guys were asking if he was going to Brady Tkachuk, his brother, in Vegas, like basically stand in the stands all day, and he's like, nah, not really, not unless he goes to the finals or something. But good for him for being with his brother.
You gotta support the family. You know what I mean?
You always gotta support the family.
That's absolutely. Cool.
You know what? I'll add more onto this. Speaking of our goaltenders in Aiden Hill, he didn't get Conn Smythe. How the does that happen?
I don't know, man. I mean, Marchessault did deserve recognition for what he did. By the way, that power play, Eichel is literally McDavid and Draisaitl is Marchessault. In this playoffs, am I wrong? Like, it was every time I'm like, oh, Marchessault scored. Did Eichel assist it? Oh, he did. And I gotta say that too with Eichel. He is a player that is really, really, really good at hockey and he plays a way I didn't think he would play. And this might be on me not knowing this because, I probably thought, he was being compared to McDavid. So I'm thinking, he's going to be McDavid, asking the sense of his speed, skill, and stuff. He's got the skill, but he's a phenomenal two-way player. Out freaking standing two-way player. He is so good, man. He is worth every penny. Like, Eichel is actually worth every penny that he's paid.
Well,
playoffs just showed it.
I mean, if you really want to throw that idea, he won one before McDavid.
Well, exactly, but also too, like Eichel, if he wasn't in the McDavid draft, he would be number one in pretty much every draft.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, was he better than Matthews? He could have, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. Like,
I
It's a
think
little
honestly, though, at the same time, you got to look at it like Eichel was put in the perfect situation realistically. He was in a really good market. He had a bunch of stars around him. He had a healthy season, like we mentioned before in a tech talk, and just everything was going right for this team. So honestly, for them lifting a cup wasn't so surprising, but I don't think anyone wanted this. That's the thing.
No, no,
No one did.
Again, I keep saying this. Happy for the players because I mean a lot of them are Canadians, and you got to root for that. It's the organization that none of us want, man. It's just because like we all get to struggle and not watch our teams win, and then we see this 6 years, and then Bettman goes and gloats about it. It's like as if like yeah, you didn't want this to happen. You know
I'm
what I
still
mean?
kind of
Like,
PO'd that the fans didn't bow him.
all I can say for Florida is, I mean, you went on a magical run, so be proud of yourselves,
Yeah.
Honest to goodness, you want to be back here. Things are gonna have to be changed a little bit, player wise. But this also proves Maurice is a great coach. That's what I think. And yeah. I mean, this is a question I'll ask you then. Do you think Florida has a chance to make it back here? And I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm a little iffy on it, but maybe
Well, before we kind of went to recording here, you mentioned that Florida could have possibly be a one and done. And now, since you mentioned that, I'm kind of thinking you might be right.
I mean, I could be wrong because I didn't pick Florida. I picked Boston to 7-game them, right? And that didn't happen. So, but I don't know, like miracles happen, right? So
yeah, I guess we'll really have to see with what will happen in Florida. And again, I guess congratulations to Eichel, Stone, and the rest of the Vegas Golden Knights for your first championship in 6 years of existence.